Hello.
Go for it, Joey.
Do I have to say all that again?
Say hello again. Yes, sir. No.
Okay.
It's yours.
Dr. McPhee,
All right.
Chairman. I want to welcome you to the Finance and Personnel Committee meeting. And with us today is the opportunity to speak live to the women's basketball team and coach. And I was just stating about how proud we are of them and how they were representing us so well this year, and with all the issues facing the university and the country, they prevailed, and it was very exciting watching them with the trophy and the celebration this week. And we know that we'll be doing it again in the NCAA once again with tremendous results. We've grown. I think everybody knows there's this small team to the east that they put us up against, so should be easy picking for the first game. So, Dr. McPhee, since you're there, would you mind now taking it over?
Yes, Chairman Jacobs, and good morning. And as the chairman said, it's very exciting to be here today, and not only for our committee meetings, but also to recognize and congratulate our outstanding women's basketball team and program under the leadership of Coach Insel and his staff. And as we all saw this past weekend, they did a wonderful job in winning the Conference USA Tournament Championship. So we are looking forward to a very successful tournament. And at this time, we do have Coach Insel and the team. They are getting ready to leave to go to San Antonio, where they're going to be in the bubble for a couple of days. And then I think the team is moving to Austin to play that little school that Chairman Jacobs noted earlier. And we play to win. So with that, we'll have the coach say a few words and acknowledge our players, and then our board members want the opportunity to congratulate Coach Insel, his staff, and our outstanding women's basketball program. And I want to just end by saying not only do we win on the courts, but we also win in the classroom, having one of the highest GPA in the United States of America, the athletic programs, athletic department. And so you're talking about quality on the court and certainly excellence in the classroom. Coach Insel?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, Dr. Mc?
We can hear you loud and clearly.
But we just, we're ecstatic. All of us are here. And, you know, our young ladies played tough for 3 days in a row and 3 very good opponents. And just the fact that we were able to get here, and really we have to look back on the fact of the staff that got back there at Murfreesboro. Our doctors across campus, our doctors in our community with Dr. Patel, Dr. McKissick, our training staff, headed up by Drew Shea, and then Jonathan, our trainer, is in the back of the room. If it had been for all those people and the protocol set down by you and the board and what we were able to follow, then we wouldn't be here and we wouldn't have a season. So we thank you and we thank the board for standing by us and standing by all of our athletes and giving us an opportunity to play, which gave us a chance to win the conference championship and also go to the NCAA tournament. But thank you very much. And I think the girls will tell you the same thing. This group here is, they're overachievers. We're not the tallest, we don't jump the highest, and we don't run the fastest. But when you go to measuring what's in their chest, their hearts, I don't think you'll find a team out there that will give it as much as they'll give. And that's what it's exciting, standing here as their head coach, to know that going into Sunday's game, there's not a doubt in my mind that Tennessee better be worried about Middle Tennessee.
Thank you, Coach. And Chairman Smith, would you like to lead off by the congratulatory comments, and then board members feel free to acknowledge the excellence in our team.
Congratulations, Coach and ladies. Fantastic accomplishment. We ought to thank Tom Boyd for suggesting this great opportunity this morning, and thanks. We're proud of you. Proud of the fact that we're going to graduate and make a doggone good living, too. And what Insule's telling you sounds tough at times, but I think we'll help you the rest of your life. So we're really proud of you, and we expect you to win. So go get them.
Thank you, Steve. That sounds just like me.
Coach, it's Tom Boyd and players. I got to watch a few practices this year, and I tell you what, those starters do a great job, but those practice, your whole team, the way they work, your male practice players, the trainers, the whole group, it's a whole team effort. It's greatly appreciated. Y'all have done a great job. In those games, you had different folks step up almost each game, make big plays at big times, and just proud of all you've accomplished this year through some tough times, some challenging times, and we just appreciate the job you do and the hard work and the results. So congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd.
And I'll add that the board looks forward to you seeing at least a couple more games that we can watch.
Yeah.
And I'll add, you make us really proud. We see you as stars. We know you are, and we know you'll be stars in the future. So congratulations.
I call it
Thank you.
GGH, grit, grind, and heart. Congratulations for those.
Coach and ladies, congratulations on what you've done so far and for doing it the right way. We wish you the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I know we have Trustee Kaboriak on the line. Would you like to make any remarks before we wrap it up? Trustee Kaboriak?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. Guys, and I say that in a non-sexist, non-gender oriented way to go. Student athletes that exemplify the best and the brightest, both in the classroom and on the basketball court. Looking forward to you all continuing this great tradition of winning. You go, guys.
Any other comments? Yes?
This is Joey.
Mm-hmm.
This is Joey. So Denzel, it's such great pride that we have with you and the team and how you represent the university at all times. So let's go get the balls and take it a game at a time.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Thank you.
Coach, I think it might be informative. Tell us about the bubble and what you're doing today, and give us 2 or 10 minutes if you want on how you get from here to there and when you're playing and where you're playing and et cetera, because we'll all be watching on TV if we're not there.
Well, we start out this morning. We've already got our buses loaded. They sent 3 buses into Dallas from San Antonio, and we've got 31 in our travel party, I think, and we've got 11 to 12 on each bus. And they're spread out on the buses. There's no food, there's no drink, there's no anything on top. And then we've got a 4-hour drive to San Antonio. When we get to San Antonio, they will put some type of monitor on each one of our young ladies and coaches and practice players, managers. And then we'll have to go into our own room. Everybody will have one room. I have their room, nobody else in there. And we'll be isolated in that room for 2 days. And of course, through that time span, they'll be checking us periodically about to make sure that we haven't got COVID. At that point, we still cannot leave that floor. There's a guard on our floor, just like they're on everybody else's floor. that will make sure that nobody leaves that floor. We'll have to go as a team to eat. Early on, they'll be bringing the food to our room, and then we'll have to going to eat and going to practice will be the only two places that we'll get to go. And then at this point, when it gets close to the game time, which will be Saturday, we play in Austin. And that's on ABC, where one of two games will be on national TV. And we'll have to bus into Austin with Sowell, Tennessee. So it's about a 72-mile drive. So it'll be about an hour drive, about like going to Western Kentucky probably. And then at that point, we'll play the game. After we win, we'll come back and we'll still we'll be in the bubble the whole time that we're here. We won't be around any other teams, any other players, or any parents. No one from outside will be around any of our teams when this thing's over with. And then when it's over with, then the NCAA will fly us back to Nashville or Smyrna one. So, the only fun that they'll have will be the fact of playing the game. And I can promise you that when we get ready to play the University of Tennessee, that our bunch will be ready.
Great. Any other comments? Well, Coach, we want to thank you and your staff for adjusting your schedule. I know you all supposed to be on the bus at 9. We really appreciate the opportunity for our board members to express their appreciation and let you and your team and your staff know how proud we are. You all represent Tennessee, you represent MTSU, and all of our alumni and students. So continue your excellence and be safe and healthy. Look forward to the wins and looking forward to you bringing back the trophy.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Thank you both.
Chairman Jacobs, we turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. McPhee. Jeff, if you're there, we'll take a roll call.
Trustee Baker.
Here.
Trustee Boyd. Present. Trustee DeLay.
Here.
Trustee Freeman. Trustee Jacobs.
Here.
Trustee Jacobs, because you are participating in this meeting electronically in accordance with TCA 8-44-108C3, there are 2 questions that will need to be answered for the record. First, are you able to hear me and the other trustees clearly so you can participate in this meeting?
Yes.
Second, are there other individuals in the room with you? And if so, please identify them. Trustee Jacobs, are there other individuals in the room with you?
No, they're not.
Okay. Trustee Martin.
Here.
Chairman Smith.
Here.
Trustee McDonald.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Great. Thank you all very much, and the other trustees for being here today and getting started with Finance and Personnel Committee. The first action that we need to take today in the committee is under tab 1, it's the approval of the minutes. So hope everyone has their books or their laptops and can go to tab 1, and you will find the minutes from our last meeting. And I would entertain a motion to accept those.
Motion to accept. Pete DeLay.
Second, JB.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussions, changes, or additions to the minutes? Hearing none, ready to call the roll, JF.
Trustee Baker.
Yes.
Trustee Boyd. Approved. Trustee DeLay.
Approved.
Trustee Freeman. Trustee Jacobs.
Approved.
Trustee Martin.
Approved.
Trustee Smith.
Approved.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, under tab 2, will be some action items that we'll do, and I'll have Alan Thomas, Vice President for Business and Finance, to walk us through some cleanup and some recommendations for this committee and on actions to take. Alan?
Thank you, Chairman Jacobs and other members of the committee. Hard act to follow when you're right behind the Conference USA Championships, but we'll get through this. So tab 2, as Chairman Jacobs mentioned, are some cleanup on some policies, some additions, and then just some housekeeping on 2 policies. The first one is policy 641, student fees, incidental charges and refunds. We needed to add to that policy how we are administering tuition and fees during the winter session. We did that, you approved the winter session last year. It went on during this past season, and it just needed to be added to the policy how we charge those tuition and fees. The second one is policy 730 on campus crisis and emergency management. The main change there is the addition of an academic continuity committee that will ensure continuity of instruction, research, and service during any campus crisis, and I believe was a recommendation by SACS to add that committee to the policy. And then there are several other minor edits through cleanup of the policy, just in mainly wording and word changes. So be glad to answer any questions. You have a red line and a clean copy in the materials.
Trustee Jacobs, this is Trustee Martin. I have several questions. If no one else does, I can go ahead.
Yes, please go ahead.
On the first policy, are there going to be similar amendments and adjustments for the housing fees and payments? Specifically, what I'm thinking of is people that might start in the winter term and not, normally housing goes from fall all the way to spring, the contract, but is there going to be any need for doing adjustments for contracts that start in mid-year?
I don't believe so. I think that's all taken care of. I'm looking at Dr. Sells, but I don't think there's any changes needed in the housing contracts. It's my understanding.
Okay, and in the second policy, I would like to ask for some additional details be written into the policy, specifically about membership and faculty participation. The committee structures are all defined in policy number 32. So there are a few exceptions, IRB, faculty appeals, things like that, where they appear outside the committee policy. But there are always clearly defined scope, reporting, chain of command, and membership conditions. And since this policy governs or touches so completely on academics, I think there needs to be more specification on faculty shared governance on this committee.
Okay.
So I would like to remand the 731 back to get a little bit more writing and bring it back to us at a later date. That would be my recommendation.
Now, I believe we are in the process of adding that to policy 32 on university committees. I'm looking at Jeff. And that's being worked on now and will be brought to the board in the next meeting.
The committee policy is a president-approved policy. Those changes have all been approved, and we're just waiting on a new committee cycle to roll in August, and that's when that policy will become effective. But it's in final form right now. It's just waiting on the effective date to come. But the Academic Continuity Committee is in there.
It is in there?
It is in there.
Yes.
Okay, that will be the first committee that's listed in 2 different places in policy. So that's fine, but I think in the makeup of this committee, we need to know who the committee reports to, what its scope is, its charge, and how the membership is specifically be distributed, with attention to membership, percentage of the membership being from the faculty. Because some of those other committees I mentioned, their membership is very specifically defined, and this membership is just open. Anybody that they decide to put on at the last minute can get on it, and I don't think that's a good idea for policy anywhere.
Okay. So is that something we can do in the committee policy and let this one go through? Or are you thinking we need to make a change in this policy as well?
Well, like I said, there aren't, as far as I know, there's no place where one committee appears in two places anywhere in the policies of the university. It's either there are a few standing committees that are elsewhere, and then the committee policy 32, or they're in policy 32. But I think if you put it in two places, they're going to be clashing a little bit. If that's what you want to do, I guess I'm okay with that part. I'm okay with the purpose and intent of this committee. What I'm saying is that academics, faculty play a humongous role in shared governance on academics, and this academic continuity is so broadly expressed that this would not be where I'd want the guidance of the committee structure to be. You don't even know who the person is, who the committee's reporting to, what the scope of their power is. There's not sufficient structure around this to be good policy.
Well, and maybe we could revise this policy to take that information out and let it fall within just the university committee policy.
I would take one,
And that way it's not in both.
Right. My personal judgment on that would be put it in one place and include the kinds of things that are included for every committee on campus as specifically listed, for example, in policy 32.
Okay. I'm going to ask Mary Housewelly to come up from the provost office, or she's got her microphone. She might be able to explain a little bit more on the addition.
And I'll repeat, I have no problems with the intent or purpose. It's the location and detail. It's not very transparent.
May I speak from here? Because Trustee Martin, I think your points are extremely important. And for that reason, when we started the revisions of Policy 32 to include the Academic Continuity Committee, we reached out to Faculty Senate and received some excellent suggestions from them. And then when we had it out for comment in addition. So to clarify, the Academic Continuity Committee that you will be seeing proposed for Policy 32 will have as its charge to evaluate the needs and provide guidance for crisis and emergency operations plans to support continuity of instruction, research, and service as it is proposed in 730. And the nomination will be...
Are we waiting on someone to come speak to us?
Yes, they are speaking now. Can you not hear?
I cannot hear.
Okay.
Let's get all the volume we can too, because through a mask is hard, and if you're hard of hearing, it's double hard.
Yeah, you may want to come to the podium, Professor Hochschild, so it can be projected much more.
Well, thank you. And to repeat, to make sure that Trustee Jacobs has a chance to hear this, the policy that's being proposed, or the... Could you use that microphone at the podium, please? Thank you. Yeah. Could you hold this one? The Academic Continuity Committee that is proposed within Policy 730 is also being proposed as a change, a revision that you will see in Policy 32 on university committees. And there it will have the same charge, but it will specify, and this is at the request of Faculty Senate and other responses we've received, it will specify that we have faculty representation by college with then 6 faculty members serving staggered 3-year terms, in addition to representatives of the other groups that are listed here, and still including Faculty Senate. So yes, I think your points are extremely important, Trustee Martin, and we appreciate that the faculty have put themselves forward to be involved in yet another committee, because it is additional work, and we really count on their involvement and support for this policy. Our goal was to make sure we remembered the lessons learned over the last year and how we can best support faculty so that they, in turn, can best support our students.
Any other questions?
So how are we going to lead this, Trustee Martin?
In my opinion, or my take on this is, I'm very happy to hear the additional explanation of the minutes and comments that are coming from the Faculty Senate and adding to in the policy 32. I think it's a bad idea to have same policy in two places. That's a minor detail, but the major portion of my concern has been addressed.
So are you comfortable approving this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alan, I'll turn it back over to you to walk us through the rest of that policy, and then we'll take action after you're through. Okay, Alan?
Thank you. The rest of the policy 730 is just cleanup on wording. The addition was the adding of the committee. So everything else is just housekeeping. So we respectfully request approval by the committee on both policies.
Thank you, Alan. I'll tell you what, let's take policy 641, let's take them separate. So I would entertain a motion on 641, student fees and incidental charges and refunds. I would take a motion to approve that policy with the changes that Alan has highlighted.
Motion to approve by Trustee Martin.
A second?
Second by Trustee DeLay.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Jeff, you call the roll.
Trustee Baker?
Approve.
Trustee Boyd?
Approve.
Trustee DeLay?
Approve.
Chairman Jacobs?
Approve.
Trustee Martin?
Approved.
And Chairman Smith?
Approved.
Motion carried. Thank you very much. We'll now go to number 730, campus crisis and emergency management. Trustee Martin, I very much appreciate your diligence in reviewing that policy. I reviewed it and did not have the benefit of this, knowing that this was also could conflict with other committee structures or processes, but I'm glad to hear that they're identical. And unfortunately, it would be in two different places. But I do think the policy was to get the faculty involved in this. So the intention and the policy itself is worthwhile for the university, I believe. I did have quite a bit of discussion with Alan and with Dr. McPhee when we reviewed this prior week. But once again, I want to thank you, Trustee Martin, for bringing it and highlighting it and giving us more background about being careful about not conflicting committees and their charters and their policies and procedures. So thank you for that. Now, I will entertain a motion to approve 730.
So moved, Trustee Boyd.
Second, Baker.
Any other discussion? Jeff, call the roll.
Trustee Baker?
Approve.
Trustee Boyd?
Approved.
Trustee DeLay?
Approve.
Trustee Jacobs?
Approved.
Trustee Martin?
Approved.
Chairman Smith?
Approved.
And both motions have carried.
Thank you. We now will let Alan update us on the budget. So, Alan, please pick up.
Okay, thank you. This starts on under tab 3, page 59, under the background information. So we're going to talk about several items here. The first one is, as you are aware, the governor's budget was presented on February the 8th, and we sent Dr. McPhee sent to campus and board members shortly thereafter in the next couple of days, the impacts to the university of what was included in that budget. As well, the Tennessee Higher Education Commission, THEC, sent out a more broad impact to all of higher education, which MTSU would have been a part of. As you would have seen in those documents, the three major categories of funding would have been operating funding for universities and colleges, funding for a salary pool for all of those, and then also the third category, which is split into two subcategories, is our capital. One being capital outlay, and as you would have seen, our capital outlay project, the Applied Engineering Building, is included in the governor's budget, full funding for that, along with the match that we had included in our submittal. The more unusual piece this year is we received funding for all capital maintenance projects. In the past, that has ranged from a low of 1 or 2 projects to maybe a high of 4 or 5. And this year we submitted, I think it was 9, I don't have the exact count, and all 9 of those were funded through the governor's budget, have been included in the governor's budget. In relation to that, we have attended, Dr. McPhee and I and other representatives of the university have attended 2 budget hearings so far. The House Finance, Ways and Means Committee on February 22nd, the Senate Education Committee on February the 24th. Now, we are still awaiting to see if other committees will hear our budget. We do not have anything on the calendar as of yet, but 2 things that came out of those committee testimonies, I guess, on our budget from legislators was interest related to the need for new buildings. They looked at what universities and what higher ed did this past year with the pandemic, and there were some questions of the need for new buildings going forward. The second was related to this past year, online courses. What are universities, community colleges thinking about online courses in the future compared to pre-pandemic levels? Both of those, THEC stepped up and said they would be leading that charge of those discussions over the next year, so that they can bring something back to the legislature next year. So there was much discussion over that, but THEC will be involved definitely with that, and we will work with them on both of those issues. So.
Chairman Jacobs, if I could make a few comments with your permission. As Alan said, we attended the 2 budget hearings, and I'm pleased to say that there were no issues associated with our budget. In fact, we received a number of compliments. I want to go on record on thanking the governor, and certainly in a month or 2, the legislature, because the governor recommends, the legislature approves the budget. But I want to thank the governor and the executives for the support that they've given not only higher education, but MTSU in particular. And I really don't want us to take it for granted that 3 years in a row, this university has received a capital outlay, a new building. And related to Alan's point about questions on the need for buildings, I made the point during our budget hearing to the legislature that we have been very strategic at the university in proposing facilities that deal with economic development, that addresses academic programs that students need to have hands-on experience, and that it should not be kind of put in the same category of a general academic building. And I think that was well received. In addition, I know the chairman and I and a number of other folks have worked very hard to continue to get funding for the Meharry project. And we are pleased again that the governor put a one-time dollars in that program, in addition to $2.6 million in Data Science Institute. And give credit where credit is due. The chairman worked with me and the staff in getting the importance of that message to the governor's office. And when you look at the budget, MTSU, in terms of additional fundings compared with all the other universities, came out in pretty good shape. And so I just want to let the board know that our chairman has been working very hard. We've been lobbying, and we're seeing the results of that. And now I would like to say that I would hope that in future years that the governor and the legislature would fully fund salary increases. For the last maybe 8 or 10 years, Alan,
Yes.
they mandate a particular percentage, and they only fund about 55% of that, and the university then has to find the additional dollars in order to implement the salary recommendation of the governor and the legislature. Salaries are very important. We are behind. All of our universities are behind. Even the state has recognized that they are way below market. And I think in this year budget, again, I'm not sure the number, but it's like $28 million
Yes.
that the state allocated the state agencies to bring those salaries of state employees up to market, because they're losing a lot to business and industry, and we are experiencing the same thing. Mm-hmm. So that's the other area, members of the board, Mr. Chairman, I think we need to work with the legislature in ensuring. We are grateful because we end up getting 2% retroactive to January, and then July 1, 2% from July 1 to the new academic year. But we will have to find significant dollars within our budget in order to do that. So, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to bring that additional clarification and also appreciation to the governor and the legislature for their support of higher education, but in particular, MTSU.
And I believe, I'd like to make note that we were the only LGI to receive a special initiative like the data science or the Meharry. So
that's right.
I have a question. In maintenance, we got fully funded. What's the proper term? It's not maintenance, but
Maintenance CapEx or something like that.
yes.
and what's that number?
The
How much money is that, I guess, is what I'm trying to...
okay, in that funding, it's about right at 10 million for those. It may be around 7 projects, I believe. So we had 2 phases for some of the projects in case they gave us partial funding. We had a phase 1 and then a phase 2. So I think it was 10 overall. But when you put the phases together, that 10 million will fund 7 unique projects across campus.
Just so it's double on the record, because it's in the record, but if these items are approved and they're in the governor's budget, construction on campus this year, that will begin this year, obviously they won't finish the concrete building this year, will be, I got 55 and I got 10, that's 65. So what number is that? How many dollars worth of construction, and I'm counting maintenance, is that too, with that number? So there'll be about $65 million worth of construction.
Of new construction.
And benefit to the local economy, because they all buy gas and Coke and lunch and materials. It would be fun to know, for me, from our contractor, how many dollars worth of materials are bought in Rutherford County. I mean, we got 55 million we're going, some's profit, some's overhead, some's labor, but there's a lot of concrete and stuff that are bought that we're direct impact. And I just want to put this on the record. I believe it's the largest construction project in the city of Murfreesboro, probably times 2 or 3. And sometimes I don't think we're good at beating our own chests about the economic impact of 22,000 plus 3,000 plus 65 million. So I just want anybody that listens to this local, I want them to, we reemphasize that. Nice job.
Thank you. That's definitely a team effort. We will be asked soon by THEC to submit another capital project. So assuming that one will make it all the way through the General Assembly for passage. So, but that's always a good project to have ready to go and submitted in the next cycle. I believe we haven't gotten those instructions yet. I do believe there will be some adjustment in that request this year that may reflect some of those comments by our legislators, of new buildings and what they're for. So I think we will get additional guidance in those instructions this year.
And Alan, just to build on the chairman's point, I think we might want to go back for 5 years and look at the amount of capital construction, the academic building. I mean, the list goes on. It is quite significant. And the chairman and I have talked about this, and a lot of times in the Industrial Development Board, they would allocate X number of tax dollars to companies that come in with, maybe 10 or 15 million dollars for the whole year, and they overlook the existing businesses and industry like MTSU that's generating millions and millions and millions of dollars for the economy.
And it's all clean.
Yes.
I mean, there's no pollution involved. Would you get a set number? I mean, not now, for heaven's sakes, but the last 5 years,
we can do
6
that.
looks better, it goes
Yes.
6. But the last 5 or 6 years, how many dollars worth of construction and maintenance we've
Yes,
done?
we can definitely pull that together. No problem. Okay.
Any other questions about the updates that Alan's been over?
I'll
Dr.
go.
McPhee, thank you for your comments, and Alan, once again, thank you to your staff for all the work y'all do for us, and sorry that you got another project out of this section. But,
Yeah, it is a little easier when you don't get a project and you go back with the same project. There's not as much. The update is not like starting from scratch, but we're always up to the challenge. And I'm looking at Bill, make sure he doesn't pass out over there. So the last section or the last part of this section, which changes subjects a little bit, but it's still university budget related, and it is a little outdated since we put the materials out. It's regarding stimulus funding. As you know, we started with the CARES Act funding back in last April or May of 2020. In December of 2020, I think December 27th, Congress passed the Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act. And then, as you know, just last week, there was passage of the American Rescue Plan Act. So I've provided information on the first two in your materials, starting on page 67. The first on page 67 is strictly related to the CARES Act funding. It kind of shows you at the bottom what our plan was in spending that funding, and the top section shows you where we are to date on that funding. So you'll see we have 1.4 million that has been allocated to various things that are still in process. So we have until May to close that piece out. So we're working very closely with all the departments and making sure we cover all the expenses and what we can with that funding and by that date. If you turn over to page 70, which is the last page of that section, you'll see the act that was passed in December of 2020 and tells you what that act looked like. It's about $8.6 million, which is the same amount as the CARES Act. Will go to emergency aid for students, and Dr. Sales and her group has already worked on that and using a similar approach as what we did in the spring. In that act, a little bit over 20 million is the institutional portion. And neither one of those show as spent because the emergency aid just went out after the materials had gone out. The institutional portion, unfortunately, we are still awaiting some very needed guidance from the U.S. Department of Education. There's a lot of conflicting information out there on how you can spend that, what the date that you can spend that on. There's a lot of controversy on can you spend it on anything before December or is it anything after December 27th? So, which makes a huge difference when you're looking at your losses and what expenses you want to cover. So we're waiting on that guidance as other higher ed institutions all over the nation are as well. I believe the administration change has probably slowed that communication down and hopefully we will get that soon. The information that's not included in your materials is the act that was just passed last week. In that act, we are slated to get a little bit over 51 million through that one that will be split evenly, pretty close to evenly, between student grants and the institutional portion. So about 26.5 million will go directly to students, 26.5 will come to the university. There's also another 2 million in that package that can come straight to the university for institutional use. So that would make the institutional amount be about 28.5 million. And this, as far as we know, this guidance hasn't come out yet either. We're kind of trying to just look at what we think it could be used for. We're doing that in the background, trying to be ready when we get that additional guidance so that we can have that already ready in place. But the second, the CRRSA that was passed in December, it's like the CARES Act. It has a 1-year expiration, so you have to spend that within 1 year. This last one has an expiration date of September 2023. So it's about a little over 2.5 year spend. So there's not a rush on that piece. We need to look at it closely and wait on the proper guidance so that we don't spend any of it and in an incorrect way and get the question cost where you have to repay the federal government with interest and repay that back. So we want to make sure that we're doing right under these guidelines and we're monitoring it, believe me, every day and just waiting on that guidance.
Chairman Jacobs, if I might add to Alan's comment, some of our board members might be thinking or wondering, how is this allocation made? And it's really important to note that in both appropriation, MTSU got the largest amount of federal funds from the CARES Act, and it's because, as a university, we have the largest number of Pell-eligible and first-generation college students that serve the state. And that was one of the major criteria, is that right, Alan? Yes. That the federal government used. That connects to, again, the population that we serve, students from very low-income families. That also provides challenges for us. And so when we look at results, you look at the numbers of Pell-eligible students at MTSU compared with the flagship institution or all the other institutions, doesn't even come close. And so need is the critical element there. And it tells you that your university is serving the greatest need of citizens in the state for the student population, and the federal government has recognized that, and that's based the appropriation.
So, okay. That's really all on this. Just to let you know, the next committee meeting in May, we will be trying to reflect all this in a budget for the board to pass. There's a lot of work to do yet on that, so we are working diligently through that so we can incorporate as much of this into that budget as we need to. So there's a lot of factors that will go on between now and the May meeting. So that's all I have. Be glad to answer any other questions.
One more question. Do you have any reports or data on where we are now as in terms of like a mid-year budget versus actual?
Right now we don't do that, per se. Just looking at it from a global perspective, I think it's running about where it has in years past. We will, as we get into this next process before the May meeting, that'll be a lot of the stuff we're looking at, but we won't know a lot of that until the end of the year. One thing we have been trying to look at is equipment purchases and travel. Both of those, of course, are down, but a lot of departments put their budget in operating expenses, and as they need travel money or as they need equipment money, will move money out of the operating into that. So what I think we've seen over this past year is a lot of departments are using that operating and not moving it over to travel, but as a COVID reaction. They've been able to, in their own areas, been able to cover some expenses related to, the social distancing and doing stuff for their student, going beyond just the normal activities. So they've had a little bit of extra to do that because they haven't had as much travel. Now, a lot of the academic departments have still do have travel expenses. They're just not as large as they used to be because they're still trying to do their online conferences, which, there is still a registration fee, and some of those are much larger than they are in the past, but there's no travel related to that, the airfare and mileage and all those expenses. So we're trying to look at all of that as we go through and set the next budget. So.
Thanks.
Alan, on the tab 4.
Thank you. Tab 4 is the annual composite financial index, CFI, that we present to the board. And as you've been told in the past several years, it's made up of 4 ratios, a combination of 4 ratios. So there's some information in your materials on that, but I would direct you mainly to page 74, which is the last page in that section, that shows the overall CFI. We did decrease slightly from last year. Last year we were at 1.57, this year 1.51. I think a lot of that will have to do with, we closed down the university campus in March, and so we still had 3 months of activity during that time. And we had additional expense during that time. We were doing extra cleaning, disinfecting, and so forth, and other expenses that we didn't get the stimulus funding till later. It was either June or it might have been after the fiscal year. So I think some of that went down because of that, and we will go back and capture as much of that. So I think what you'll see in the 21 year, as long as we can get the proper guidance on this new funding and stuff, we'll be able to capture a lot of that information back. So, and you'll see a steady, that stabilize back to last year and maybe even increase. So,
Alan, are we required to report this to the board?
No.
Joey, Alan and I spent a lot of time talking through this calculations, I guess you would say, last year. We spent a little time this year. I'm not sure it fairly represents anything, to be honest. If you really dig into the numbers and how they're calculated, I think Alan somewhat agrees with that. I would suggest if we're not required to include this as a board meeting, we've spent 5 minutes on something that, again, I think Alan agrees is not very representative, and just discontinue this for the future.
And I'll give you a little bit of background. I mean, TBR started this about maybe 10 or so years ago, and at that time it was kind of the only thing out there, the best thing that they could find that did this. So it's not always been something that has been presented even when we were under TBR. You know, and we're on several discussion lists, and there's a lot of, I guess, controversy over, you know, is this information helpful? What does it provide? You know, your budgets and your other information we provide every year is probably more helpful than some of this. So but I would leave that recommendation up to the board.
Tom, would it be appropriate to ask the audit committee to make us suggestions on any items that are unnecessary?
Sure, I think that'd be great. And again, I think now that we've got our key performance indicators out there that we've worked on, is a much better representation of how the university's doing than this report. And I just think it's, again, if you dig into the numbers, how it's calculated, it's not very accurate. Again, I hate to say that, but it's not accurate in terms of how the university's doing.
Well, that's
So this is Chris. May I ask a question, please?
Absolutely.
With respect to Trustee Boyd's comment, I'm sorry if I'm not familiar with this particular report. Is it something that is generally available in the public domain so that even if it's not presented to the board, others, whether it's media or others, are able to access this?
No, the only public place we put it would be in the board materials. It's not something that's on our website like our financial statements and budgets and that information and the key KPI information.
All right, that's very helpful to know. And I do think, to the point that was made earlier, this is a great conversation point, Chairman Smith, for the audit committee.
And it could be that the audit committee's suggestion might be that we publish that. I mean, if we feel like it should be published, but not be incumbent on us to report it at each time. There's nothing to hide.
Well, again, I'm a little bit confused in terms of it's presented under finance, so I would think it would go back to the finance committee to
that suits me.
Decide that rather than audit, since that's where it's presented as a financial indicator. So.
Would you make that as a motion? And
I so move.
Second.
Yep, call the roll.
I'm sorry, could we restate the motion?
Okay. Wait.
Motion is for this Finance and Personnel Committee to make a decision whether we're going to include the composite financial index going forward. Is how I understood it.
Okay. So I would be included and they would be take it out?
Say that one more time.
My motion, Joey, was that finance would take this under advisement to whether to include this in future meetings or not.
Okay.
Right. Well, yes. So that would put it back on our agenda as the Finance Committee, just to decide whether we want to keep it or not keep it. Logistically, I personally agree that it's not very meaningful, and I'm willing to eliminate it now. But some of you all on the committee may want to take some time to think about it. But I'll do whatever you want, and I guess the motion is really not a motion because Tom, are you on the finance? Yeah, are you on the finance committee?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think what Tom is really wanting to know is that I've spent some time researching this with Alan over the last couple of years. It's really not meaningful. No one else is really using it. Why don't we stop doing it? Is that it, Tom?
Yes, sir.
So I would
So can I make a,
withdraw your other motion.
can I make a,
Withdraw your other motion. I would entertain a motion there to eliminate this.
so this is Trustee Martin. Could I make either a friendly motion or a replacement motion that we remove this from the reporting?
Yeah, you sure can. Yes, you can.
I'll second that.
Could we withdraw the prior motion first before and then come back in with the second motion, please?
It's withdrawn.
Thank you.
Okay, now, Mary.
So can we have a motion to remove the overall composite financial index from regular reporting it to the Financial Committee?
We have a motion from Mary to do that. I need a second.
Second.
We have a second. Is there any more discussion about this? Hearing none, call the roll. Jeff?
Who was the second?
Tom.
Okay. Trustee Baker.
Approve.
Trustee Boyd.
Approved.
Trustee DeLay.
Approve.
Chairman Jacobs.
Approved.
Trustee Martin.
Approved?
And Chairman Smith.
Approved.
The motion carries.
Thank you, committee, for doing that. And Tom, thanks for spending time working on this for the past couple of years.
Sure.
Next on the agenda is our favorite discussion, is our capital disclosure request. And this will be an action item for the committee. And Bill, we've been waiting on you the whole meeting, so it's now yours. Are you there, Bill?
I'm here. Good morning, everybody.
You're supposed to be anticipating and moving faster than that.
I was waiting on my microphone to be replaced, so thankfully the gentleman got it replaced, so I'm ready to go. I have one item.
All right, thank you, Bill.
Yes, sir. We have one item today for all of you. It's a MTSU capital disclosures. This is an action item, and it's located in tab 5 of your materials. Just a brief reminder, disclosure of a capital project is the first step in a project approval process and indicates that an institution is considering a project investment but does not obligate the university to carry out the work identified. In accordance with THEC policy, MTSU submitted 2 projects as part of the FY21-22 MTSU capital budget request. Of course, those 2 projects that we submitted, the new student housing project and the Student Athlete Performance Center, were approved by the MTSU board on June 16th, and those were sent in to to THEC on July 31. On January 14 of this year, MTSU had the opportunity to revise our list for the 2021-2022 capital disclosures with THEC. On page 77 of your materials, you will find at the top, or if you're looking at it sideways, the left side of the sheet, the 2 projects, like I mentioned before, that you guys had all approved. On the bottom of that page are some revisions that we included to those projects, and mainly the changes, I will say the changes are, we had a few projects that were going to be removed from the list, and we're resubmitting those to keep those on our MTSU disclosure list. And then we also had a few where we revised the funding sources and the funding amount. And on the following page, on 78, you will see a project-by-project summary of all those changes. And I'll certainly be more than happy to go through them if you guys would like, or answer any questions about each one of those projects. And then finally, on the last page, on page 79 of the materials,
We're going to have lunch later.
we have a complete list, disclosure list of all our projects as it would appear in July of this year. So I'd like to certainly would we'll open the floor to any questions or comments that you all have. And
One question, Bill.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure this is to you directly, but the new student housing, again, with all the online direction, are we still comfortable that this is needed? It's maybe a Dr. McPhee question.
Yes, thank you, Trustee Boyd. Absolutely. We are still a major comprehensive university. We are certainly increasing our online operation. But one of the things we're hearing as we try to attract traditional age college students and give them the college experience is that we are lacking in that area. And so we're not trying to be landlords, but we have really a need for some updated student housing to compete with institutions, particularly as we continue to have our aspirational goal of being a major comprehensive university attracting the best and the brightest. So we're being very strategic. We're not asking or we're not planning for an array of new housing, but this is something that we've had on our master plan, and we're hearing from parents and others that they really would like the university for their traditional K-8 student to have that experience. Yes, sir.
I thought that would be the answer. I just wanted to hear you say it. So, thank you.
Do we have
Tom, excuse me.
Sorry. No,
No, go ahead.
well, thank you, Chairman Smith. Do we have an idea about what percentage of our students live in university housing? And is that comparable, benchmarked against other universities of our nature?
We certainly do, and I will kick this lifeline to Dr. Sells, who's responsible for that area, our VP for Student Affairs. Thank you.
Trying to move quickly, since the previous speaker was reprimanded. We house about 2,800 students currently on campus. That's considerably lower than you would expect for a school of this type. But since I arrived in '96, I started receiving calls from private developers that have wanted to develop specifically student-oriented housing within a mile or two of campus, and that continues to occur. So besides the 2,800 that live on campus, we probably have another 5,000 or 6,000 that are living within a mile or two of campus in these privately developed housing complexes. The problem with those complexes from the point of view of families and students is that based on fair housing standards and other kinds of laws, they are required to rent to not just MTSU students, but to anyone who can pay the rent. And so we run into difficult situations where in a 4-bedroom apartment, two of the residents may be students, 2 may be non-students, and that becomes an issue. So I agree with Dr. McPhee. Our plan is to begin by replacing our oldest housing, which at this point is Womack Lane, has had the least investment in it. And so we would begin by beginning to pull down parts of that and replace it with new housing. We would go that route before we would begin to expand substantially the actual number of bed spaces on campus.
Tom, to your question, what I've challenged Sydney and Alan to do is to make sure that it's not what kind of financial, can we charge enough to pay for the rooms? I mean, and if off-campus charges X and we charge 2X, then we just want to make sure if it is a drain that we know what it is. I'm not saying it shouldn't be a drain, but we ought to know what that is before we build it, and then the rent doesn't work. So I think that's part of your point.
And we have taken that quite seriously. In fact, our housing and auxiliaries, they have to pay for themselves. It's not funded by the state. It's not part of our operational budget for the university. So we have to look at it as a business, Mr. Chairman, and we certainly will not get into it if it's a drain on the university, because it has to stand on its own. So we appreciate those observations.
Mr. Chairman, I would just say that it's a major upgrade going towards being a major university, the on-campus housing. We are below standards, and we need to get to standard, and then we need to get above standard.
Yep.
And one other thing to note is we're hoping with the additional guidance we get from the U.S. Department of Education to be able to some of that stimulus funding go back into housing, who has taken a big hit this past year. So we're waiting on that guidance with the lost revenue of private rooms. And as soon as we know that will help, because that was coming out of reserves. And those reserves would be needed when you start looking at a project like this. So, but we hope to get that guidance sooner rather than later.
One last question, Dr. McPhee. Are you looking at this as strictly undergraduate housing, or have you considered graduate housing?
Again, I don't want to speak for my vice president. I defer a lot to her. I think it's undergraduate, but I'll let her correct me.
Exercise this morning.
That's right.
Am I counting my steps?
Joey, she's wearing tennis shoes, so she's running fast.
That's why I wear sneakers.
You need to come dressed appropriately.
Just watch from the waist up. We are planning that we will be replacing Womack Lane as the first step in the process, and that currently does house both graduate and undergraduate students. We will not exclude graduate students from any facility, but some obviously appeal more to older students than others. And so we're going to have to wait till we get a little bit further into the design phase. There are some other plans for other kinds of housing opportunities on campus, including some mixed-use facilities, which may connect to some of our academic programs and would probably be very attractive to some of our graduate students. So we're going to have to wait till we get to the design phase. But Dr. McPhee is right. Housing operates as an auxiliary. We have to be able to build something that we can afford to pay for with the rents. And so that has been part of the barrier, is that we build to an institutional grade of construction on this campus that's meant to last for many, many years, as opposed to some of the off-campus apartment complexes, which can build to a very different grade of construction. And so our ability to compete with them financially is a difficult one, but we believe it needs to happen.
Chairman Jacobs, may I ask a question or for a comment? There's a lot of silver hair in the room, and we're talking about university housing. Trustee McDonald, would you share any thoughts you have on this topic?
Absolutely. I worked as a student orientation assistant with the customs office that dealt with orientation for all the incoming students for 3 of my 4 years of undergrad. And so I worked with a lot of students and parents, and since this university runs more than 20,000 students and we only have about 3,000 beds on campus, there was definitely times where students and parents expressed interest in living on campus, and we only have so many beds and there's only so many places we could put students. So I think this is a great idea. I think it's going to be very easy to fill it. I think there'll be a lot of interest in it, especially since it will be new, so a lot of students will want to live there. But I would say, based on my experience, I've heard parents and students express interest in the campus developing more student housing.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussions about Bill's presentation on the capital disclosures before we take action? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to, Bill, we were wanting to do the one you turned sideways on for 2021, 2022, is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Smith here.
Second.
Thank you.
Delay.
We've got a motion and that's been seconded to present this to the board at its next board meeting and then on to the state as our capital priority at this time. So I would entertain any questions, discussion. Hearing none, Jeff, if you'll call the roll.
Trustee Baker?
Approve.
Trustee Boyd?
Approved.
Trustee DeLay?
Approved.
Chairman Jacobs?
Approved.
Trustee Martin?
Approve.
Chairman Smith?
Approved.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Dr. McPhee, do you have any closing remarks you want to make?
No, sir. Thank you so much for your leadership on this committee and the board for your due diligence. Thank you.
Chairman Smith, do you have anything you need to add?
Well done, sir.
Okay. Alan, Deb, all the team that worked on this and answered the questions and got this agenda ready and the materials ready, I very much appreciate all your hard work. And like the basketball team, you guys are stars, and we very much appreciate everything you do on a daily basis. So you make this committee fun and easy, and so thank you very much. Alan, anything else we need to do before we close the meeting?
No, sir.
Okay. I would entertain you in a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Delay.
Second. Boyd.
Done. Yep, we're done.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and do this one next. I'm sorry?